I knew something was wrong the second my sister walked through the door. Not because of what she said or how she looked. It was the way Mom's entire body shifted when Emily appeared in the doorway, like a flower turning toward the sun. The way her voice went soft and careful, the way her hands moved differently when she poured Emily's coffee, adding extra cream without being asked. And when you hear the rest of what happened that morning, tell me what you would have done. Before I take you into that moment, tell me, where are you watching from? Because what I'm about to share, it's one of those stories that makes you question everything you thought you knew about the people closest to you. It was Christmas morning, not Thanksgiving, Christmas. The one day that's supposed to be about family and togetherness and all those warm feelings you see in the commercials. I'd driven 6 hours through a snowstorm to be there. Emily lived 20 minutes away, but somehow she was the one who got praised for showing up. I should have seen it coming. Should have recognized the pattern that had been there my entire life, hiding in plain sight like wallpaper you stopped noticing. Mom had texted me 3 days before. Come early Christmas morning. I need to talk to the family about something important. Important. That word sat heavy in my stomach the whole drive up. Important could mean a lot of things, but with my mother, it usually meant something was about to shift in Emily's favor, and I was expected to smile about it. I'm Chloe, by the way, 29 years old, working as a nurse practitioner in Portland, the reliable daughter, the one who remembered birthdays without Facebook reminders, who called every Sunday, who drove through snowstorms because Mom said it was important. Emily is 32. She's a yoga instructor, which Mom describes as finding her spiritual path, and what I'd describe as working part-time at a studio while her husband pays the bills. But I'm not bitter. I'm really not. Or at least I wasn't, until that Christmas morning. The house smelled like cinnamon rolls when I arrived at 7 a.m. Too early for Christmas breakfast, but Mom had insisted. Before Emily gets here, she'd said on the phone, I want to talk to you first. That should have been my first warning. Mom was in the kitchen, her back to me, shoulders tense in a way I'd learned to read like a weather forecast. Storm coming. Coffee's fresh, she said without turning around. Sit down, honey. Honey. She only called me honey when she was about to ask for something or tell me something I wouldn't like. I poured coffee and sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I'd done homework for 12 years, where I'd told her I got into nursing school, where I'd cried about my divorce 3 years ago while she patted my hand and said, at least you don't have children to worry about. Unlike Emily, who had 2 kids, perfect, beautiful grandchildren who could do no wrong. Emily's been having a hard time. Mom started, still not looking at me. I wrapped my hands around the coffee mug. Okay. You know how expensive everything is these days, and with the kids and Jake's job situation. Jake was Emily's husband. His job situation was that he'd quit his job as an insurance adjuster 6 months ago to start a life coaching business that, as far as I could tell, had exactly 0 clients. Marcus is starting private school in January, Mom continued. It's $15,000 a year, and Sophia needs braces. I stayed quiet. I'd learned that silence was often the best response when Mom was building up to something. Your father and I, before he passed, we'd set aside some money. For emergencies. For the girls. She finally turned to look at me. I've decided to give Emily $20,000 to help with the expenses. The kitchen went very still. I could hear the refrigerator humming, the clock ticking above the stove. That's generous, I said carefully. I knew you'd understand. Mom smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You're doing so well, Chloe. You have your career, you're independent. Emily needs the help more than you do. There it was. The logic that had governed my entire childhood distilled into one simple statement. Emily needs it more. Emily needed the bigger bedroom because she had more friends who came over. Emily needed the car on weekends because she had more social obligations. Emily needed Mom's time and attention because she was more sensitive, more fragile, needed more support. And I, reliable Chloe, didn't need anything. I see, I said. I knew you'd be mature about this. Mom patted my hand, the same gesture she'd given me 3 years ago when I was crying about my divorce. That's why you're my rock, honey. Your rock. Your afterthought. Your backup plan. I heard a car door slam outside. Emily had arrived. The next hour was performance art. Mom setting out the cinnamon rolls, Emily sweeping in with shopping bags full of gifts, her kids running around hyper on Christmas candy, Jake on his phone checking emails from clients that probably didn't exist. Emily hugged me. "You look tired," she said with concern that felt practiced. "Are they working you too hard at the hospital?" "Clinic," I corrected. "I'm at a clinic now." Right. She was already turning toward Mom. "Something smells amazing." We sat down for breakfast. Mom at the head of the table, Emily on her right, me on her left. The kids were at the far end with Jake, the seating arrangement of our entire lives. Mom cleared her throat. "I want to talk to everyone about something." Here it comes, I thought. The announcement. The public declaration of who matters more. "As you all know, your father left me comfortable when he passed." Mom's voice took on that formal tone she used when she wanted to sound important. "I've been thinking a lot about how to best use that money to help my family." Emily's face was perfectly composed, but I saw the flicker of anticipation in her eyes. She already knew. Of course she did. This breakfast wasn't an announcement, it was a coronation. "I've decided," Mom continued, "to give Emily and Jake $20,000 to help with the children's education and expenses." Emily gasped, right on cue. "Mom, that's too much." "Nonsense. Family takes care of family." Mom reached over and squeezed Emily's hand. I took a sip of coffee. It had gone cold. Jake spoke up, trying to sound humble. "We really appreciate this, Diane. It's going to make such a difference for the kids." "I know it will." Mom was glowing now, basking in the gratitude. "And Chloe, honey, I know you understand. You're doing so well on your own." All eyes turned to me, waiting for me to play my part. To smile and nod and say, "Yes, of course. I understand. Emily needs it more." That's when I felt it. The shift. Like a tectonic plate moving deep underground. "Actually," I said quietly, "I wanted to talk to you about something too, Mom." The table went silent. I had everyone's attention now, which never happened. "Remember last year when you needed someone to be your power of attorney after your surgery?" Mom's face changed slightly. "Of course. And remember how you said I was the responsible one, the one you could trust with all your paperwork and medical decisions?" "Yes, honey, and I meant every word. So I had access to all your accounts, bank statements, investment portfolios." I kept my voice level, conversational. "I saw something interesting." Emily's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. "There was a transfer," I continued. "Last summer, $35,000 from your savings account to Emily's checking account." The clock above the stove ticked. The refrigerator hummed. Nobody moved. Mom recovered first. "I don't know what your July 23rd, I said. "I remember because it was the same week you told me you couldn't help me with my student loans. You said you were on a fixed income, remember? That you barely had enough to cover your own expenses." I pulled out my phone. I'd been carrying these screenshots for 5 months, waiting, not planning to use them, just waiting. "I have the bank statement right here," I said softly. "Would you like me to share it with everyone?" Emily's face had gone pale. "Chloe, this is Christmas." "You're right, it's Christmas. A time for family, for honesty." I looked at my mother. "So, let's be honest, Mom. This isn't about Emily needing more help. This is about you choosing her. Again, like you always have." Mom's hands were shaking now. "You don't understand." "Then explain it to me." I kept my voice gentle, deadly gentle. "Explain how last year's $35,000 plus this year's $20,000 equals the daughter you love more." "That's not fair," Emily's voice cracked. "Mom loves both of us. Does she?" I looked at my sister, really looked at her. "Did you know she gave you money last year, Emily?" Emily's silence was answer enough. "She didn't tell you," I said, "because she knew it wasn't fair. She knew it was wrong. That's why she hid it from both of us." Jake had his hand on Emily's shoulder, but he looked uncomfortable, like he wanted to be anywhere else. Mom's voice came out small. "I was going to tell you, Chloe. Emily needed it. She was struggling. And I wasn't?" The words came out sharper than I intended. "I was $40,000 in debt from nursing school. I was living in a studio apartment working 60-hour weeks trying to make ends meet after my divorce. But I didn't call you crying, so I guess my struggles didn't count." "That's different," Mom whispered. "You're strong. You can handle things." So I get punished for being strong? I felt something break open inside my chest. All my life, I've been the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who didn't need anything. And you know what I've learned, Mom? I learned it from you. I learned that if you need too much, you're a burden. So I became someone who needed nothing, and my reward for that is watching you give everything to Emily. The kids had stopped eating. Marcus, who was 7, looked like he might cry. I felt bad about that, but not bad enough to stop. I'm not saying Emily doesn't deserve help, I continued. I'm saying I deserved honesty. I deserved to be part of the conversation. I deserved to matter. Mom was crying now, silent tears running down her face. You do matter, honey. You've always mattered. Then why does it only feel that way when you need something from me? The question hung in the air like smoke. Emily found her voice. Chloe, I didn't ask for this. I didn't know. I know you didn't. That's not what this is about. I stood up, pushing my chair back carefully, precisely. This is about 30 years of being invisible unless I was being useful. This is about being told I'm loved while being shown I'm less than. I looked at my mother one more time. I'm going to leave now, and I'm going to do what you've always done, Mom. I'm going to take care of myself, since apparently that's the only person who will. Chloe, please. Mom reached for me, but I stepped back. Merry Christmas, I said quietly, and I walked out. The drive back to Portland took 7 hours because I had to pull over twice to cry. Not because I regretted what I said, but because I was mourning something I'd never actually had. The fantasy of a mother who saw me. Really saw me. My phone exploded with texts. Emily apologizing, saying she'd give the money back. Jake saying I'd ruined Christmas. Mom saying we needed to talk, that I'd misunderstood, that she loved me just as much. I turned my phone off and drove through the snow. 3 days later, I got a check in the mail from Emily. $20,000. Not the 55 total, just the new money. A note was attached in her handwriting. I can't give back what I already spent, but I want to make this right. I stared at the check for a long time. It wasn't about the money. It had never been about the money. I tore it up. Then I called Emily. I don't want your money, I said when she answered. I want Mom to acknowledge what she did. I want her to admit that she's been choosing you for 30 years and that it wasn't fair. Emily was quiet for a moment. She won't. You know she won't. I know. So what now? Now I stop waiting for her to see me. I stop breaking myself into smaller pieces so I'm easier to overlook. I took a breath. Now I choose myself. We talked for an hour. Really talked, maybe for the first time since we were kids. Emily admitted she'd always known Mom favored her. I felt guilty about it, she said. But I needed it, you know? And you never seemed to need anything. That's because I learned not to need, I told her. I learned that needing things made you weak. That's really messed up. Yeah, it is. Emily told me she'd been in therapy for a year, working through her own issues with Mom. She's not going to change, Chloe. She can't see what she doesn't want to see. I know. So you're just going to cut her off? I thought about that. No, I'm going to set boundaries. I'm going to stop performing for her, stop trying to earn something she's never going to give, and I'm going to be okay with the fact that our relationship is never going to be what I wanted it to be. That sounds lonely. It is, but it's less lonely than pretending. Mom called 2 weeks later, wanted to smooth things over, wanted to pretend Christmas hadn't happened. I told her I needed space, that I wasn't ready to talk. She cried and said I was punishing her. Maybe I was. Or maybe I was just finally protecting myself. 6 months have passed now. I still talk to Emily regularly. We're building something real, something that doesn't require me to disappear so she can shine. She's working now, actually working, and she's in couples therapy with Jake. Mom and I text occasionally, surface-level stuff. She asks how I am, and I say fine. She tells me about her garden, and I say, that sounds nice. We're polite strangers who share DNA. Sometimes I wonder if I overreacted, if I should have just smiled and accepted my role as the invisible daughter, the one who doesn't need anything. It would have been easier. But then I remember that moment at the Christmas table, the moment I finally said no, the moment I finally refused to carry a burden I never agreed to take. Truth doesn't need volume. It just needs the right moment. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop being strong the way everyone expects and start being honest about what that strength has cost you. I don't know if Mom will ever truly see me. I don't know if she's capable of understanding what she did or why it hurt so much, but I've stopped waiting for her recognition to validate my worth. Because the thing I've learned, the thing I wish I'd known at 7 or 17 or 27, is this: you can't make someone choose you. You can't earn love that was never freely given. All you can do is choose yourself, even when it breaks your heart, even when everyone tells you you're wrong. Especially then. That Christmas morning, I didn't expose my mother for revenge. I did it to stop the cycle of silence, to stop pretending that being overlooked was the same as being loved. And if you're reading this, if you're the reliable one, the strong one, the one who never needs anything, I want you to know something. You're allowed to need, you're allowed to hurt, you're allowed to say this isn't fair, even when everyone else thinks you should be grateful for the scraps. You're allowed to choose yourself, even if it means spending Christmas alone in a snowstorm, crying in your car, knowing you just burned down the only version of family you've ever known. Because sometimes the family you're born into isn't the one that sees you, and the hardest part isn't walking away. It's finally admitting you deserve better.